back to this Wall Street Journal piece. Why Iran's axis of resistance is missing in action. For decades, Iran's leaders built up a network of allied militias in the Middle East that shared a hatred of Israel and America in the region, and they wanted to gain regional influence to protect the Iranian regime. But as the theocracy is now fighting for its very survival, all their allies are missing in action. Hezbollah, once seen as the most powerful of them in their axis of resistance, that is Iran's, hasn't fired a single missile since Israel attacked Iran. Its military capabilities and leadership have been decimated by Israel. In Iraq, Iranian-backed Shiite militias haven't targeted U.S. military bases as they have in the past. In Yemen, the Houthis and their militia fired several missiles at Israel Sunday, but have remained silent since. The bruising wars have left Iran's allies wary of taking on Israel, which has demonstrated vast superior military and intelligence capability. Some are now focused on their own interests. What? What's this? Are you saying that in the Middle East there are nations that they're less focused on their hatred for Jews and the West, and now they're beginning to think maybe it's in our own best interests to, I don't know, trade with Israel, do business with America and the West? Not keep firing on them? Not keep poking them? Maybe we should do business with them and lay down our arms. Trade. Trump, don't forget Trump's Middle East swing a month or so ago, where he talked with a lot of neighbors of Israel's. He's regenerating the conversation about doing business with these folks. Again, commerce is a great way to make peace, and Trump knows how to make business deals and create commerce. And so a lot of Israel's neighbors are starting to figure out, it might be in our interest to stop shooting them and maybe try to do business with them. That's what Trump's doing without firing a shot. But more importantly, Israel is demonstrating, as well as the United States, we have the capability, and we'll show you, here, watch, and do a little flex, and just beat the crap out of the Houthis, or strategically pummel some of Iran's military sites. Just to remind them, you do know what we have here, right? You do know what we're capable of, right? So when you keep mouthing off that we're the great Satan and you're going to destroy us with your weaponry, you do, just let me remind you what we can do. Kaboom. Now then, you have 2 weeks. Would you like to talk? We can do this the hard way, or we can do this the much harder way. So they're going to have to let the United States and our allies around the world in. They're going to have to let us walk the proverbial halls of their operations in Iran. That's going to be part of the deal. We're not just going to take your word for it. You're going to knock off the nuclear enrichment stuff, and you're going to let us come into your country, and you're going to let us look around to make sure you're not up to any damn good. And if you don't like that, well, Israel's told me they can handle you on their own. So, gosh, that's a pretty nice facility you have there. Be a shame if something happened to it, says Trump. And I remind you again that Israel they just said yesterday, unequivocally, we don't need the United States to kick the crap out of Iran's nuclear capabilities. We don't need the United States' help. Good. That's fantastic. 2586, Caroline Levitt, on this very point. Strength necessary.
The president is unafraid to use strength if necessary. And Iran and the entire world should know that the United States military is the strongest and most lethal fighting force in the world. And we have capabilities that no other country on this planet possesses.
Just in case you're thinking about changing your mind, Iran, just a little reminder. You can't have nukes. We don't ask that you change regime or leadership. And I want to remind all of the nattering nabobs this week of that too. Never once have you heard the words regime change come out of this White House. Not one time. And Trump isn't asking for it now. He has said, we know where you are. We know your little hole you're hiding in, and we could blow you to smithereens right now if we wanted to. But guess what? You're safe, and we're not going to do that. Be a shame if Israel did. We don't want that. Maybe you should talk. 2 weeks. Go. It's just like the 90-day pause with the EU on tariffs. Here's what we can do. He did it. EU goes, ouch, ouch, that hurts. Uncle, uncle. He goes, okay, I'll give you 90 days. But then I'm going to start twisting again. Meanwhile, can you believe this? Back home yesterday, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the Ninth Circuit. I think Rush used to call it the Ninth Circus. They are known to be the most whacked out left wing, and they were 30 years ago, the craziest left wing of all the appeals courts out there. And the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals yesterday unanimously said Trump can deploy the National Guard in places like L.A., and nobody has any justification to stop him. The three-judge panel unanimously extended its pause of a judge's order finding Trump's deployment illegal and forcing him to return control of the troops to Gavin Newsom. Governor Goodhair, he puffed his chest out and he said, "You must stand down. The troops are now under my command, Mr. The Ninth Circuit said, actually, no, there's no constitutional justification. We can't even go that far, and we really hate his guts, and even we can't do that. We emphasize our decision addresses only the facts before us, they say, and although we hold that the president likely has the authority to federalize the National Guard, nothing in our decision addresses the nature of the activities in which the federalized National Guard may engage." The panel said it disagreed with the administration that Trump's decision isn't reviewable by the courts, but the judges acknowledged they must be highly deferential. Quote, "Affording the president that deference, we conclude that it is likely that the president lawfully exercised his statutory authority." Whoa. The Ninth Circuit said the president has the authority to deploy the National Guard to regain order in American cities if he needs to. And I think, because the Ninth Circuit is well aware of the hellhole that much of the West where they reside has turned, and anarchy in the streets, I think they're probably inclined to go, boy, we don't like the guy, but it's pretty indefensible. This has turned into a hell. And the president wants to restore order, and how can we argue? Speaking of Southern California, the Dodgers also claim, and I can't get a straight read on whether this is true or not true. Apparently the Dodgers, the baseball team, said that ICE came knocking on their door yesterday, Ed, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement at the federal level on their X account said that is not true. But I keep hearing reports today that the Dodgers claim ICE came knocking to get into their stadium, and the Dodgers were very proud of the fact that they wouldn't let them in. I said we did not. We sent nobody to the stadium. Who's true? Who's telling the truth?
I actually think Homeland Security is telling the truth, because if it was L.A., the Dodgers, something that high profile, all those cameras, don't you think we'd see footage of proud L.A. Dodgers workers? No, you cannot have our illegal immigrants.
Well, we know how the Dodgers hate Catholics and people of faith, so political activism is thick there.
The Chris Stigall Show Podcast.